morning all. Today we are going to be working on my dad's Ford Mondeo 2007 ST, I believe. It's a nice brisk 9 degrees in here today, and that's Celsius, not Fahrenheit, for all the Americans and everybody else out there. It's got a problem with the handbrake where it's causing the ABS and handbrake light to keep flashing up on the dashboard while he's driving along. So we are going to strip that down, try and clean it up, free it up if it needs to be freed up, and then let's go and fetch it and see what happens. It was a little bit crusty, rusty, whatever you want to call it, to say the least. The brake pads are all alright. I think it just needs a good clean up. Probably some grease sticking inside the sliders, and the handbrake cable readjusting up so that yeah, it's binding in places, so I think the handbrakes, the caliper needs releasing off. Just a little bit. So let's get knocking some of this rust off and get the caliper to bits and see what we find. Right, so this is my little tapping hammer to normally use for body panels, but it comes in really handy just to knock off some of the big lumps of rust. Right, let's see if we can get these undone. Now, I am going to use my impact drills. They are not sponsored, or they are not sponsoring me. Wish they was, because I do actually love these tools. They come in really handy. First started out with them at one of my previous jobs actually, but they're that good of tools that I've just kept them and kept using them. And I am sorry about the sound. I am next to a road, so you will get to hear cars coming through. Oh, let's put some WD on first. Try and give myself a bit of a fighting chance though. This has had all new handbrake cables on it. Towards the end of last year. So we know it's not the handbrake cables that's jamming it up. Oh dear, that doesn't want to know. Oh, I'm going to have to call out the big gun. These wobble bars extensions that you can buy are really handy, come in really useful. Unfortunately, a couple of years ago, I've had these some years, but a couple of years ago, there we go, I lent them to somebody and I only got half of them back. So I only have a limited few left. Wow. Handbrake's off and then that's well jammed on there. That moves out really well. That one's a little bit on the tight side. I think we'll take that one off and oh god, yeah, we'll clean that one up and put some new silicone sealant, silicone grease around it. Oh, yeah, that's not very nice in there. I think also what we'll do is we'll take the pads off and put some all around that as well. That's better. This stuff is brilliant for doing brakes. It is actually what you are supposed to use for brakes now, not copper slip. Something to do with the, wow, they're well stuck in there. Properties in the copper slip make the basically the road dirt and everything stick to where they are, so it like now it's stopping them from sliding and coming off of there. So back in a second. I need a lump hammer. Let's see if we can get these out of here. There we go. See, plenty of life left on them. It's just the fact that they're all rusted up and jammed up. And that one's exactly the same. Decided that I was going to strip the caliper down. I got the main caliper off itself and realised that one of the slides was jammed up, so I've used some silicon lubricant in that, because you're not supposed to use copper slip anymore, because the it attracts the road dust. Road dust actually sticks to it. And when I actually finally got the calipers off, the brake pads off, I found that the pads have still got loads of life left in them, but the seats on which they sit on are so rusted up. Oh dear, I need to stop moving the camera about. So rusted up that they weren't able to move freely. So this is the actual main caliper housing, and if you look, it is really rusted up in where the slide pads sit, and it's causing them to sit high. The pads, look, have still got loads of life left on them. They just want a bit of a clean down. So I'm going to take this over to the vise and get the angle grinder with a wire brush head on it and try and clean some of it up. Alright, so we're over at the vise. Let's practice in here a little bit. These are the metal slides that the brake pads slide around on. And unfortunately, they've lifted too high that they no longer release once the brakes release. So it's going to be just a bit of a clean up, get rid of all this excess rust where they fit to, clean up the brake shoes, this is just an old wood chisel that basically I use as a scraper now. Comes in handy for knocking off lumps of rust, basically. Right, so I've cleaned them all up with a wire brush best I can for now. All the seats are clean, I've cleaned round. Oh. the edge of them, so they're all nice and clean. That's just a back plate on both of them, so they're both clean. Just got to clean these up, lube them up and put them back. Right, so I've put the caliper housing back on. I've cleaned the slides up for the brake pads and put them back in. Now I'm going to put a tiny bit of silicone grease on the ends of each pad, so that they're less likely to pick up road dust while they're driving along and less likely to jam up again. Now if I had more time, I'd actually proper clean this down. I'd sandblast it and I'd paint it up for him, but he actually needs this like within the next hour of me doing the video to go out. So yeah, let's crack on and get it put back together. Right, so they're in. I'm going to wind back. Well, actually, let's see. I might wind back the caliper a little bit, just so it's not so tight on there. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. Right, so I'll wind back the caliper a bit. It now goes on a lot easier. I haven't quite wound it back enough though, that's the problem. That seems alright to me actually. Wow. Okay. I think it needs winding back one more turn. Right, so this is my little wind back tool. That's a multi-end that I had to get to do a different car with. This is one I think is for this car, but I'm not sure. Yes, it is. Which actually came with the kit. The idea is you just put it on there like that. Depending on which one you've got depends on how this fits on there. I have bought one of these kits before and bent this plate, even though it's quite thick plate. The idea is you do that, just get it nice and tight in there, and you can just supposedly, I don't know if I could do this with my shoulder at the minute, turn it back. Right, now I've got this big spanner, see if we can get this to turn around, or at least go back in a bit. So that's my dad's car done and gone. Turns out I had to get some help to get the caliper back because of my shoulder. I couldn't actually get it to turn back in slightly to reduce it off anymore. But yeah, brakes are done. It works fine. Nice easy fix again. If you've liked this video, please subscribe and toss us a like, and I'll catch you in the next one.